So here we have the much anticipated Nash thrust hydrofoil. This is the type of foil that you can use on kiteboard, surfboard, SUP, and even a windsurf board. Nice thing about these is they're plug and play, so you can use the wings. You can get different wings, different mast sizes. This one is going to go straight on an SUP. Hopefully this 610 Hypernut right here. So right off the bat, we have a foil cover. This is going to protect your wing, fuselage, and the tail from any transportation damages that may occur. They're pretty robust, so having this is just kind of keeping it a little more pristine. So in here we have the actual foil itself. And I'll get a close-up view. I mean, it looks like there's a little bit of little carbon weave. It says it's glass, so maybe it's just a fiberglass weave. But it doesn't feel like it's full carbon, but it's fairly light. Definitely lighter than an aluminum one. But yeah, this is the size medium, and this is meant basically for just getting up on foil. It's got a real low aspect ratio. And we also have, this is going to be your tail wing, goes in the back. The base plate. So Nash went from Tuttle mount to base plate mount, which I advise them to do in the long run, because the nice thing about the base plate is you can slide it up and down, just kind of get different riding positions, get it dialed in for your board, or for the style of riding that you're doing. Base plates are also a lot easier to install because it just takes a 10-inch US fin box side by side, as opposed to a Tuttle mount, which you have to scour the internet for and look for it on eBay, and you'll be lucky to find an actual Tuttle mount. Most shapers will not carry a Tuttle mount. So base plate is a plus. Okay, so this is everything that you're going to get in the box. We already talked about the nice foil cover. You've got a fuselage here with all the necessary hardware to put it together. You got your rear wing. It's got a nice concave in there. And you've got your bolts here. It's basically, I think these are like M8s and a T-nut. And you got your 55 centimeter fuselage. And this is the 55 centimeter mast. The front wing here, size medium, and the base plate. That's pretty much all you need to mount it to a board. The board has to be equipped with a base plate mount, or you can get one of these foil mount adhesives, and this will work just fine. You can put it on any board, kiteboard, SUP, surfboard, and it's just going to adhere on. It's going to get stuck on there too. Guys can do pull-ups with these things, and it's a pretty strong system. And you're going to replace these nuts because these are the wrong size nuts. They're meant for a different board. But luckily the Nash board comes with the correct size. So it'll just slide in here. Base plate's just going to fit like so, and you can still have the ability to move it up and down. So yeah, if you need to get, if your board doesn't have the base plate on here, all you got to do is get these foil mount kits, and they are $159 and super easy to install. There's plenty of videos on how to do that, but it's pretty easy, and you can put them on and just be riding within 24 hours because it takes 24 hours to cure. All right, so let's go ahead and assemble this. The best way to assemble it is just start out with the bottom first, like the airplane, the wing, fuselage, and tail, and then you can mount the mast and do the base plate last. Now everything's already kind of screwed in here, so you should know what screws go where, so it is pretty obvious. Make sure that you get the right size Phillips head, because you don't want something too small that you're going to strip these screws out. So one thing I would recommend, since this is going in the salt water, is to either putting some tri-flow on here or just some anti-seize material, because salt water will get inside, and then when it dries, you'll be left with salt deposits, which will act as like a thread lock, and it almost may have a permanent effect on these. Aluminum, stainless steel bolts will be seized together, and you won't be able to take your foil apart. All right, so this fits in pretty much perfectly, and then you just kind of flip it over and you can start screwing in. But again, remember to put some tri-flow oil or some anti-seize on this. And if it's something that you do just maybe, once a month, you may want to just take it apart, and put some oil back in each screw. Okay. There we go. So it is a real snug fit, and you're going to have to push in pretty hard just to get those to align. But once you got them in there, you can go ahead and start screwing these in. All right. So wing and fuselage have been attached. Next step is the rear wing. It's pretty easy to know. Everything kind of has a downward curve as if you're riding it. Or you can just say, logo side up. Because on this side, there's no logos. This is the bottom. This is the top. And I assume that most manufacturers are putting color on their foils just so you can see it in the water and kind of watch out for it if it starts flying at you. You want to get away from it. So yellow is actually a good color to have on these foils. Not particularly my favorite color, but it is good just so you can be aware of what's going on. So interesting, on these there is a little bevel going on, and you're just going to want to make sure, this is also a type of a T-nut, you just want to make sure that it's situated properly. The outside bevel is going to follow the curvature of the fuselage, so just make sure you put them in correctly. And these guys just slide right in here. It's another snug fit, and you just got to make sure those holes align pretty perfectly. You may apply a little bit of force on there. Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty tight. So let's try a different method here. So the backside is a lot easier to put in, as you can tell. And then mounting this guy is pretty straightforward. You want the sharp edge towards the back and kind of more the smoother edge towards the front. Again, every one of these nuts that's going inside a piece of aluminum, you're going to want to put tri-flow as well. Okay, just like that. And then if you want, you could probably turn it upside down and drop these guys right in. Pretty straightforward. I would also recommend hand tightening these with the tool, not with a drill. You don't want them too tight, and you don't want to use, you don't want to strip anything out. All right, and the front goes pretty much the same as well. Even it says front on here. Front. Boom. These guys go on as well, and these you're going to want to make sure are pretty tight, because if it is going on your board and these screws are loose, they will kind of push through on your board. So make sure it's completely flush, and again, anti-seize or tri-flow to keep it from seizing up on you. All right, so here it is. The foil is fully assembled. Nice thing about this I've noticed, as opposed to some of the other ones, like the slingshot one, is this is actually, they tap these out a little bit. It's recessed, so you don't have to worry about this screw hitting your the bottom of your board, because they did a nice job of machining this piece right in there. So here it is, ready for surf, ready for SUP, and even kiting. So it's kind of an all-in-one foil right here. It's pretty amazing. But again, this is aluminum. This piece, the fuselage is aluminum, base plate is aluminum. It's not going to be your high-end, super light foil, but it is compact. You can travel with it, take it on a plane. And let's just test this out right here, see how well it fits in its case. This is the medium. It looks like this is a one-size-fit-all. It doesn't say a size on here, so I would assume that the thrust fits in here for size large and medium. So it kind of opens up kind of like a butterfly, and you can just slide this in. Like so. Zip it back up, and ready to go. Okay, so now we have the GoFoil. Let's open this bad boy up. Hoping this is, we ordered the Kai and the Maliko. Maliko is for beginners / downwinding, hence the name Maliko, for the Maliko run in Maui. Which is actually pretty fun if you get a chance to do it. There's shuttles, I think it's like maybe $10 or something. Rent a SUP or find some friends that have them, and you can go do the Maliko run on a nice northeasterly trade wind day. Okay. So this is the foil. Knowing just right off the bat, I can tell that this is already lighter than the Nash foil. Got 2 boxes. They weren't labeled, so I don't even know if this is the Kai or the Maliko. But we're going to find out. Nice red foil. A foil bag, just like the other one. And what Nash didn't include, which some customers were talking about, is a mast cover. And we've got a wing as well, rear wing. Pretty nice. Okay, so this is kind of nice. This is your mast here, regular Tuttle mount, and the fuselage is already attached. Okay, so what we got here is the Kai foil from GoFoil, and it includes everything we see here. We've got some mounting hardware for the Tuttle. We've got the complete mast fuselage kit, and all this is pre-preg carbon, and this is a much lighter construction than aluminum. And then this is the main wing. It's got a nice thick leading edge on here to help you get up on foil, and this nice curvature helps you actually ride waves and maneuver through without sliding around. And we got this rear wing for stabilization, and mast pad, and this right here is the foil pad. So let's go ahead and put this guy together. This is going to be actually really easy to assemble. And again, as I said in my last video of putting together the thrust foil, you want to make sure that we have tri-flow or anti-seize fluid on these nuts, because you do not want this thing to seize up on you. So this is actually a lot easier to assemble than a traditional aluminum foil, because lo and behold, there is just one screw, and you just got to make sure that's lined up properly. Stop. And I really like how easy this thing is to put together. I mean, you're just doing 2 screws. On the Nash, there is at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 10 screws to put that together. So here we are. And let's just compare these two. This is the Kai, so the smaller blade, and we're going to compare it to the medium thrust, and just kind of compare weights, shape of the wing, and you guys can get a good idea of you know, which one that you want. But the other thing is this has a Tuttle, so you will have to get a Tuttle box, or if you just get the new 2018 starboards, they already come equipped with a Tuttle box, which is pretty nice. So we are going to do a little comparison here between the foils. As we know, this one is heavier than this guy. This one looks cooler. It's got a little graphics. This is just a solid red, which really doesn't matter. So again, we're going to just kind of put these guys on top of each other. And you know, I'm going to say that they're pretty similar. This medium thrust foil versus the Kai, similar outline. I would say this this wing downturn is a little bit more drastic. This one's just kind of a nicer smooth curve as opposed to this guy. And as far as the aspect ratio, very similar. There's not too much difference here. There's a little bit extra lip on the nose of the thrust. But all in all, I would say they're very similar wings. Obviously, this one is lighter. The leading edge on the GoFoil is a little bit bigger. So you know, you're only really gonna be able to tell actually riding these what the comparison is. So that's gonna come at a later date when we can compare these two side by side, because they are so similar. But again, the main differences are, you know, the Nash has a much drastic downturn on their wing, a lot more curvature. It's almost at a sharp angle as opposed to the nice smooth curve here. And the leading edge does kind of poke out a little bit more. So you can kind of compare these profiles side by side. You can kind of compare those profiles. And then we're going to compare these wings, these rear wings. So you can kind of see there is a slight difference. Lengthwise, they're pretty much the same length. This angle seems to be a much sharper angle, so they're coming down a lot more on the GoFoil than the Nash. So this is a little flatter. But as far as length goes, aspect ratio, this is looks like a higher aspect ratio wing than the Nash thrust. So all in all, very similar. I think they'll probably ride equally, but you know, having a lighter material is just going to make it carrying down the beach a lot easier, and performance is going to be increased as well because you're not having to lift as much weight. So I mean, this is adding an extra 2.4 pounds to what it's got to lift off, as opposed to this guy, which is much lighter. Okay, so here we are. Now we're going to compare. I think the best way to compare it is for me to just take apart and compare the wings, wing to wing, tail to tail. But right off the bat, you can tell that the GoFoil is a little bit taller than this thrust over here. So it's going to be probably a little bit more difficult to learn on, just because you're going to be up a little bit higher. But I think in the long run, once you master this, having just that more authority above the water is going to, you know, just make things a lot easier for you, as far as, you know, choppy water or just being able to control the foil a little bit more. But you know, having a short mast does have its benefits as well. So you'll just have to see what's going to work for you and your situation. So aluminum versus carbon. Let's go ahead and weigh these. I've got a scale down here. Okay, it's zeroed right now. And easiest way I think is just going to put it upside down and balance it on there. Okay, so this one, it weighs in at 9.4 pounds, if you can see that. It says 9.4. Okay. I have to be very careful here. Balancing this. It's right in at like 7.0 pounds, which is considerably less. 2.4 pounds lighter. It also is a little bit taller, so there is more material, but it's light. 2 pounds is quite a bit of weight, and you're going to spend an extra $500 for that. So I'm pretty excited about both of these. Like to try them both back to back and kind of just see what they're like. The only problem is one's going to be a tuttle mount, the other one's going to be base plate mount. So it's going to be on different boards, unfortunately. But yeah, pretty stoked. 2 new foils, should be a lot of fun.
All the rain and night like